peaceful here. There's so many birds, and the moss is just hanging off all the trees, and it makes it even more eerie to think about all the creepy and violent stuff that happened here. Welcome back. Here we go again, another video. And today I will be riding up to a part of West Marin County. Marin County is right across the Golden Gate Bridge north of San Francisco. And we are heading up there today to check out a little spot that I just found out existed. It's nearby places that I've been before, but this place is called the Marconi Conference Center, and I really don't know what the current status of it is. I think at one point it was abandoned. I think maybe now it's actually used as a conference center, but it has a very interesting history, including being the headquarters of one of the most infamous cults of Northern California. So we'll learn more about it once we get out there. I'm just going to ride along for a while here, and we'll see what we find when we get out there. I have no idea if this will be worth it or not. On our way out to the Marconi Conference Center now. I actually am expecting this conference center to no longer be abandoned. I think they are now using it as a real conference center. But regardless, hopefully we'll be able to go over there and look at it. I mean, I hope it's not all closed off. We'll see. This is a totally kind of unplanned thing, and unlike a lot of my other videos, this is just one of those riding days where I'm out wandering and I'm going to go look at this place and hope that it's mildly interesting. But the history is interesting no matter what, so I will definitely put in a lot of the history, and we'll learn about some of the crazy past of this place. So, this whole area is the homeland of the Coast Miwok people. The Marconi Conference Center is by the town of Marshall, which was a Coast Miwok village called Etkakoloom. But starting in the early 1800s, missionaries began colonizing the region, building missions and spreading diseases that wiped out many of the Coast Miwok. After that, the Coast Miwok and other indigenous people of California were persecuted and murdered through a horrific genocide. They were also lied to and scammed out of most of their land. Moving forward from that dark part of history, the next part of this story focuses on a young 22-year-old Italian named Guglielmo Marconi, who in 1896 got the first radio patent on his wireless radio system. In 1912, the Marconi Wireless Company bought a little over 1,000 acres out here in West Marin, near Marshall, for a radio receiving station. That site, which is where we're headed, along with a few others, created a communication system for the U.S. to communicate with ships at sea. Then World War I started in 1914, and all of Marconi's stations in the U.S. were confiscated by the Navy in 1917, just a few years later. In 1964, the Marconi Conference Center area was sold for $175,000 to the Synanon Foundation, ushering in the infamous cult era of this place. I think it's up here. I think I see the turnoff. Yes. Conference Center. That's not really where I want to go, though. Here it is. Oh, yeah. Can I just park right here, you think? Oh, this is wild. God damn it. Okay. I'm just gonna park right down here. Yes. Wow, this place is pretty crazy, actually. I didn't expect it to be so beautiful, and it's pretty hidden. I mean, it's just right off the main road, but it's pretty tucked away. I don't know how I can get up to the abandoned center right here, or if I'm allowed to, but I'm gonna walk around and see if I can get closer. I'm gonna try going up and around this way. Oh yeah. Whoa. Okay, this is pretty crazy, actually. I was not expecting to just be able to walk up to this abandoned cult headquarters. I don't know what I'm allowed to do here. There's not really any signs posted, so I'm gonna get as close as I can. Wow. This is wild. Wow. So this site became the world headquarters for Synanon, an organization that started in Los Angeles as a drug rehab program in the 1950s. Charles Diedrich was the founder, an alcoholic who started caring for drug addicts in his apartment in Santa Monica. As he cared for these people, Diedrich started to amass a following, and donations began pouring in. So the group started to buy up properties throughout the country. The core of Synanon's so-called rehab was called the Synanon Game. It was an aggressive attack-style group therapy where a person was singled out and publicly humiliated, shamed, and verbally abused. Synanon started to gain even more traction, and curious people like lawyers and celebrities dumped money into the organization. But most of the graduates of the program ended up going back to using drugs and alcohol, so Synanon rebranded itself in 1968 as an alternative lifestyle community. And this is when things started really turning even stranger. Diedrich forced members to shave their heads, broke up marriages and couples, and chose people's romantic partners for them. Families were split up, and children were forcibly separated from their parents. Diedrich even determined people's reproductive rights. And the group became increasingly violent, and Diedrich ordered vicious and brutal beatings on people, sometimes beating people near death. Many media companies and news organizations shied away from covering Synanon. They were afraid and intimidated by Diedrich's tactics. But actually, a very small local paper out here, the Point Reyes Light, was one of the only ones who wasn't afraid. That paper did a 1978 investigative series focused on the children who ran away from Synanon. Other media followed suit, so Diedrich started bringing lawsuits against them. This all culminated when 2 Synanon members removed the rattles from a 4.5-foot-long rattlesnake in 1978 and put it in the mailbox of an attorney who was opposing Synanon. The attorney was bitten but survived. Throughout the legal discovery process, tapes were revealed of Diedrich ordering beatings and the attempted murder. In 1979, the Point Reyes Light won a Pulitzer Prize for their exposure of the cult. Synanon collapsed, and Diedrich and some of his accomplices were convicted. The Point Reyes Light is still around today, covering the local communities here in West Marin. In 1980, a philanthropic organization bought this property, and then in 1989 transferred the land to the state, and now this whole area is a state park. Wow, what a creepy, eerie, beautiful place. I had no idea if I was even going to be able to access it. I didn't know if it was still abandoned. I just showed up and it was definitely worth it. I can't believe this is just kind of sitting here and nobody else is here on a weekend. It's right off the main road, right off Highway 1. Definitely an interesting place to check out. I'm very glad I did. Maybe I'm the only one who's interested in like defunct, abandoned, creepy places like this, but this one is just incredible. I mean, especially because it's situated in such a beautiful place. Very eerie, very interesting history. Glad I came. Thank you so much for watching. I know that was another kind of simple little exploration video on the bike, but I really enjoy that type of stuff. Hope you do too. Anyway, thanks again. More to come.